Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, back in the USA reading, and it was a very cold morning.
What?
You can see I'm wearing a hat and like...
It's not that cold.
Well, it's warming up now, but it's only like 9 in the morning. We've already been for a walk. And we're not going to tell you where we are because you've got to guess. And you can put your guesses in the comments section below. But we're here to do what we do best.
We're in New York.
Stop it. Don't tell them. They have to guess. The person who guesses, Bhava Bhakti will sort out a gift for you.
What?
What? All right, we're here to read the Bhagavatam, right?
I hope so.
I'll join you.
Canto 4, Chapter 20, Text 35 and 36.
I don't know if that... Let's do that again. Because some came up on the screen. So where are we reading from?
Canto 4, Chapter 20, Text 35 and 36. No, text 35 and 36. Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. No distractions here, that's for sure. You can meditate on reading the Bhagavatam in this place, and you can definitely go back to Godhead.
Alright, text 35 and 36, because they're two verses together. King Prithu worshipped the demigods, the great sages, the inhabitants of Pritra Loka, the inhabitants of Gandharva Loka, and those of Siddha Loka, Charana Loka, Panaga Loka, Kinara Loka, Apsaro Loka.
Apsara Volos Loka. No.
The earthly planets and the planets of the birds. He also worshipped many other living entities who presented themselves in the sacrificial arena. With folded hands he worshipped all these as well as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the personal associates of the Lord by offering sweet words and as much wealth as possible. After this function they all went back to their respective abodes, following in the footsteps of Lord Vishnu. Purport. In modern so-called scientific society, the idea is very prevalent that there is no life on other planets, but that only on this earth do living entities with intelligence and scientific knowledge exist. The Vedic literatures, however, do not accept this foolish theory. The followers of Vedic wisdom are fully aware of various planets inhabited by varieties of living entities, such as the demigods, the sages, the Pitas, the Kandavas, the Panagas, the Kinaras, the Chanaras, the Siddhas, and Apsaras. The Vedas give information that in all planets, not only within this planet material sky, but also in the spiritual sky, there are varieties of living entities. Although all these living entities are of one spiritual nature, in quality the same as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they have varieties of bodies due to the embodiment of the spirit soul by the 8 material elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence, and false ego. In the spiritual world, however, there is no such distinction between the body and the embodied. In the material world, distinctive features are manifested in different types of bodies in the various planets. We have full information from the Vedic literature that in each and every planet, both material and spiritual, there are living entities of varied intelligence. The Earth is one of the planets of the Bhurloka planetary system. There are 6 planetary systems above Bhurloka and 7 planetary systems below it. Therefore, the entire universe is known as Chaturdas Bhuvana, indicating that it has 14 different planetary systems. Beyond the planetary systems in material sky, there is another sky which is known as Paravyoma, or the spiritual sky, where there are spiritual planets. The inhabitants of those planets engage in varieties of loving service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which include different rasas or relationships, known as Dasya Ras, Sakya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, Madhura Ras, and above all Parakya Ras. This Parakya Ras or Paramore love is prevalent in Krishna Loka. where Lord Krishna lives. This planet is also called Goloka Vrindavan, and although Lord Krishna lives there perpetually, he also expands himself in millions and trillions of forms. In one of such forms, he appears on this material planet in a particular place known as Vrindavan Dham, where he displays his original pastimes of Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual sky in order to attract the conditioned souls back home, back to Godhead. That's a long paragraph, isn't it?
That is a very long paragraph, and we're definitely attracting the souls here back to Godhead.
As we do.
I mean, wherever we go, already there was lots of people, but some people came and sat like almost directly on the camera. So, any thoughts?
Yeah, it's interesting how Prabhupada, because I know there's a lot of people that disagree within the devotee community and outside, especially of our planets are so evolved, actually more than this Earth planet, actually, in terms of the people that live there and the environment in which they're living. It's not that this is the be-all and the end-all, actually. It's like the end-all. It's actually very sophisticated, that's my point. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but America sent up 2 astronauts for 1 week to the moon.
Oh yeah.
And they can't bring them back. So they were supposed to come back 3 months ago, and they're now going to come back February 2025. Fingers crossed if they don't disintegrate on their way back to Earth. And now that is my worst nightmare. They're in a capsule, they got dry food to eat, and anyway, it's horrible. I was reading about it. It's horrible, the bathroom and everything. And my claustrophobia would go through the roof.
Well, you wouldn't go there in the first place.
No, I couldn't get in the capsule to go there, and so.
So did they actually go make it to the moon?
Yeah, they're there because they got a space station there. Not on the moon, around it. Lord knows what they need to go up there to do, quite frankly. But it was a 1 week mission, a man and a woman. They're not related, separate families, whatever. 1 week, just for 1 week. And yeah, they ain't coming back this year. They made it clear, and they said the earliest they're looking at is February 2025.
Okay, let's stick with the.
So thing. No, the point I'm making. No, there's a point. You're asking questions anyway.
I know. But
my point is, in the conditioned soul, we think we're so intelligent and advanced, and we're sending people up to some dusty, dark, so-called planet, which you're saying is the moon. But if we're followers of, if we're Prabhupada Nugas, as it were, followers of Prabhupada, then we didn't go there. And Prabhupada is saying here, there's like all these personalities that King Prithu is thanking for coming to the sacrifice, and that they go back to their separate respective planets, the Gandharvas, the Kinnaras, the Channaras, the Siddha, Apsaras, and they're very, from what we read in the Bhagavatam, they're very luxurious, I don't say sensual, but they're very, think of, Hawaii or something, on this planet I'm trying to think of,
they're heavenly planets. Basically.
Heavenly planets, yeah, that exists. But my point is, we make so much futile endeavor to do what? So much money, billions of dollars have been spent on this mission, and Lord knows how much more will be spent for what, But because we won't be humble enough, like we were saying in the talk yesterday, Balaram's humility, we won't be humble enough to just accept the authority of Balaram or the Lord,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, then you can go wherever you want. If you have a desire, you can do that, Prabhupada says,
Yeah. Well, easy journey to other planets. Interesting. Okay. I agree. I think it's really powerful. All these places. I really wish we could, you don't always, the Kinnaras, they're called. They're a certain type of creature, actually, I think. Anyway, it'd be nice to know what these apsaras we hear about. Of course, it'd be nice to see apsaras. But Gandharvas, so Narada Muni is a Gandharva. But there's some of them Charanas. Yeah, it'd be nice to see Panaga. Apanaga, I don't know what Apanaga is. Anyway, interesting to see these personalities. They're all talented and gifted in certain ways, and so anyway, very interesting. Okay, so we're going to finish this chapter today, Krishna willing. We've got another 2 verses to go. So this is text 37. The infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead, having captivated the minds of the king and the priests who were present, returned to his abode in the spiritual sky. So the Lord was like personally present there up until now, and now Prithu Maharaj is offering respects to all these different personalities, and he's like, I'm out of here. Purport. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is all spiritual, he can descend from the spiritual sky without changing his body. And thus he is known as Achyuta, or infallible. When a living entity falls down to the material world, however, he has to accept a material body, and therefore in his material embodiment, he cannot be called Achyuta. Yeah, because he's fallen. Because he falls down from his real engagement in the service of the Lord, the living entity gets a material body to suffer or try to enjoy in the miserable conditions of life. Therefore, the fallen living entity is Chuta, whereas the Lord is called Achyuta. The Lord was attractive for everyone, not only the king, but also the priestly order, who were very much addicted to the performance of Vedic rituals. Because the Lord is all attractive, he is called Krishna, or one who attracts everyone. The Lord appeared in the sacrificial arena of Maharaj Prithu as Kshirodakshai Vishnu, who is a plenary expansion of Lord Krishna. He is the second incarnation from Karnadakshai Vishnu, who is the origin of material creation, and who expands as Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who then enters into each and every universe. Kshirodakshai Vishnu is one of the Purushas who control the material modes of nature. Well, that's very interesting point and explanation on the different Vishnu expansions. And it's interesting that it's Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who, by the way, is the Vishnu form that has the lotus coming from his navel, and Lord Brahma is sitting on that. So it's interesting that he is the one that appeared. I would have somehow thought it would have been Kshirodakshai Vishnu who manifested, but evidently it mentions that Kshirodakshai Vishnu is the manifestation of the Lord that specifically is the Vishnu form that looks after the mode of goodness. So like that. Okay, and you have the honor of completing the chapter.
Final verse of this chapter, text 38. King Prithu then offered his respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Lord of all demigods. Although not an object of material vision, the Lord revealed himself to the sight of Maharaj Prithu. After offering obeisances to the Lord, the king returned to his home. The Supreme Lord is not visible to material eyes, but when the material senses are inclined to the transcendental loving service of the Lord and are thus purified, the Lord reveals himself to the vision of the devotee. Avyakta means unmanifested. Although the material world is the creation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is unmanifested to material eyes. Maharaj Prithu, however, developed spiritual eyes by his pure devotional service. Here, therefore, the Lord is described as Sandasit Akma, for he reveals himself to the vision of the devotee, although he is not visible to ordinary eyes.
Thus in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 20th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Lord Vishnu's Appearance in the Sacrificial Arena of Maharaj Prithu.
Yeah.
Powerful. Comment?
Yeah, my comment was that we might be thinking, okay, so Maharaj Prithu had the good fortune to physically see Lord Vishnu, and someone might say, sometimes you hear people say that in relation to Arjuna. Well, Arjuna, he had Krishna sitting in front of him, so he knew what to, do and that. But I would say that just from experience of doing like deity worship in the temple and even at home, but especially in the temple, you definitely, as you regularly do that, and you feel reciprocation, you do feel the presence of the Lord, and you do feel sometimes being guided, and sometimes you might have a plan of how you're going to make them dress and appear, and it's interesting how it can go, and like that you do. I don't mean to become like a sahaja or something, but the Prabhupada has given us this process, and the deity form, if installed and worshipped correctly, the Lord is there, and so we can also, I'm saying, see the Lord by going to see the deity form, and he will reciprocate with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear that this process is meant to give us eyes with which to see the Lord, and Srila Prabhupada would say that if you follow the process, then you can see the Lord in this life with these very same eyes. So, I always like the example that Srila Prabhupada gives of the there are different ways to see the Lord. You see the hand of the Lord, and he mentions how when a mother sees the shoes of her child, she remembers her child, she feels the presence of her child, she may even cry tears, her heart may go pitter-patter. So just by seeing the shoes. So when we see the deity form of the Lord, we should actually just be overwhelmed with emotion, and when we hear those golden dawn prayers, then we should be like, oh wow, Unfortunately, it's like that probably in the very beginning, but after some time, we become dulled over. And then that can almost make you understand a little bit about why, theoretically, because it was talking about the fall of the jiva, which we're not going to get too much into. It's a very, unfortunately, controversial topic. But, it's like you can understand why we might have fallen, although it's meant to be ever fresh in the spiritual world. But even here, somehow, we become lazy, we become complacent, we become bored or boring, like that. So, anyway, so we finished another chapter 20, and I forget how many chapters are there in the 4th canto. Do you remember? Some reason I think it goes up to up past 30.
Yeah.
I think it goes up past 30.
Yeah.
Because I know the Bitesize chapter is like that. Yeah, 31. 31 chapters. So, but anyway, slow and steady wins the race. Gradually moving through the Bhagavatam, and trying to do it in a way that we do it anywhere and everywhere. As you can see, don't forget to try to name the place where we're located if you think you can figure it out. It shouldn't be that difficult, considering the clues that my lovely wife gave. And it's really nice to be back together here again in the big city, in the Big Apple.
Well, there you just gave a clue.
See y'all later. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.